Hi guys, JT Tran here, and I'm with a special guest, Maggie.
Hey guys.
She is the etiquette coach with executive class, and let me tell you, she knows what she's talking about. In fact, I took Maggie's etiquette class last week, and we even had a special guest, Ross Jeffries. Yes, the seduction godfather. So, Maggie, tell our audience here, who are you and why are you equipped to teach etiquette?
Yeah, so as JT said, my name is Maggie Oldham and I'm an etiquette coach, and you're probably looking at me thinking, she doesn't look like that stuffy old lady with the pearls and the cardigans. First of all, I'll tell you what etiquette is not. Etiquette is not, sitting up straight, minding your manners. It's more about putting that finishing touch, that final polish on your body language and your social skills. And it's about a set of rules and protocols that when you walk into a fine dining establishment or a social situation, whether that be a date or a networking event, you know what to do because you've been trained in the rules and the protocol that make things naturally flow.
Okay, and how did you learn about all this fancy etiquette?
My background is in corporate, so I worked in the business world for about 6 years before moving out to Los Angeles. And when I moved out to Los Angeles, prior to moving out here, I attended a finishing school in Switzerland. So I was formally trained at one of the top finishing schools.
Now, what is a finishing school for our audience that don't know what it is?
Yeah, a finishing school is an etiquette school, and they're usually based in Europe. Switzerland is known for their finishing schools, and it's just an intensive course of etiquette. We did etiquette all day long.
Wow, that must be a lot of knowledge to absorb. Now, I know with my students who are typically Asian, and a lot of them don't speak a lot of English because they're coming in from like Asia, China, Japan. So the etiquette over there from our motherland is different from over here in America.
Sure.
Like I see this a lot with my students, and I see a lot of overlap when it comes to dating and etiquette.
Absolutely.
And that's why I brought Maggie here, because I know that some of the things that she was talking about when it came to etiquette were things that I had to learn myself because no one taught me. I actually remember one student, and I had to learn a little bit about wine, right?
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about wine, because it wasn't an Asian thing.
Right, well, you don't really learn that.
Yeah.
How would you learn that?
Now it is more Asian because it's very popular, but I remember having to take a class about wine tasting. And then one student, I told him he should make his condo a bit more female friendly. Buy some wine, buy some stemware.
Yeah, I love it. That's a perfect tip.
Exactly. And when I came back to his place, like a couple months, just to see how he was doing, he said, "JT, I bought some wine." And I was like, I have it chilled in the fridge.
Oh,
I'm like,
you even need to chill the wine.
yeah, so I was like, that's awesome. So let's take a look. So I opened the fridge, and it was Merlot.
Oh no!
It was red wine.
Chill red wine.
See, that's the thing that growing up as an Asian kid, I knew nothing about, and a lot of you guys probably don't. And I know that one student that was at your class who was Asian came up to you. Like, what did he say?
Yeah, so there was actually a guy in my class, my last class that I had, it was called Own the Room, and it was cocktail party etiquette. JT was there, so was Ross Jeffries. And at the end of the class, this guy came up and he said, "I learned so much. I never thought of these things before, and no one ever teaches you these things." So JT said, "Well, why don't we get together and we share some of these tips with you guys?"
Absolutely. So, Maggie, what are some tips for our Asian professional that are moving here? Maybe they've got a business deal or they want to get a job out here. What are some etiquette tips that they should know that apply here that don't apply in Asia?
Yeah, so the first one I would say is just eye contact, maintaining eye contact. When you are in a conversation with someone, it's so important, and whether this be on a date or at a networking event or even just, with friends, you want to maintain eye contact at all times. And so that means not scanning, you're looking over the other person's shoulder to see, oh, there's a hot girl over there, or, ooh, who do I know? Maintaining eye contact at all times, it shows confidence and it shows respect for the other person.
Absolutely. I remember as a kid, I had a difficult time with eye contact. Up until high school, I always looked down, and I see this a lot with my students as well. Eye contact, incredibly important. Not only when you're talking to your girl, but also when you're closing a sales deal or negotiating a job. So what else do you have for us?
Another thing too, when we're talking about eye contact, we were saying that shows a lot of confidence. Also, being very smiley and friendly shows confidence as well. In Asia, I don't know if the smile is as emphasized as much as it is here in the U.S. We always talk about the pearly whites that have that nice, pretty smile. But even for guys, that shows a lot of confidence. It shows that you're engaged. It shows that you're having a good time. And it makes the person that you're talking to feel really good because they're causing you to smile.
Absolutely. Again, this is something that I see with my students and I have to teach them. It's what we call Asian poker face. We actually have a term for it.
I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
Well, I remember
okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend in high school, probably in college, we go to like these parties, right? And I'd be like, oh, I've got a girlfriend. And she'd be like, why are you angry at me? Are you upset? And I'm like, what are you talking about, babe? But my face was like this.
Yeah.
Like, we're not taught that, but it is incredibly important to be able to express yourself, exactly as Maggie said.
Yeah, and along those lines too, sometimes if you're a shyer guy and you kind of do have that Asian poker face, which I'm now learning this term, you can sometimes come across as being a little bit snobby or a little snooty, and you might not be feeling that way or want to come across that way, but the easiest way to get over that is to smile. That can really break that stigma of, oh, that guy's shy, he must be really snobby or snooty.
Mm-hmm. Cool, exactly. So far we are like 100% on point here. What else?
We talked about gift giving. I know when we spoke earlier with giving and receiving gifts. If somebody gives you a gift, it's totally okay to say, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and accept the gift right away. I mean, you could throw in oh, you shouldn't have, but thank you so much. JT was telling me that there's some rule or unspoken rule that you should refuse 3 times in certain Asian cultures, but here you want to accept on the first offer.
Yeah, it's considered rude when you refuse a gift, because here in America, it's like when you refuse a gift, you are actually refusing the gift because it's not good enough. I mean, I know like if a student wants to buy me something, I'll be polite enough to like give them an out because I don't expect it. But it's nice, but you don't keep on like saying no 3 times. And I know that's popular amongst like Japanese and other cultures, but just accept it. It's okay. They're giving it to you because they like you and they respect you.
But at the same token, don't expect a lot of gifts. I know in some Asian cultures, they give gifts to everybody at every occasion. When I actually had some Asian colleagues at my corporate job come and visit us, they gave all the staff really, really nice gifts, and we actually didn't have anything to reciprocate, and we were sort of embarrassed by that. So I'd say in the U.S. we don't have as big of a gift-giving culture. So if someone does not give you a gift, don't take it personally that they don't like you. It's just not our culture. We only give gifts on very special occasions.
Yeah, holidays typically.
Birthdays, or a thank you if they've done something really above and beyond.
Right. Okay, so that was a really great tip on graciously accepting a gift. What else do we have?
Another thing, especially for guys, be the first person to socialize. So especially if you want to portray confidence and this feeling of sophistication, be the first person to go up to a group of people, or especially a woman, and break the ice. And what we mean by breaking the ice is kind of breaking through that barrier of silence. So going up to someone and saying, hi, how are you? I'm Maggie. It's nice to meet you. Having that solid introduction. Another thing as well is with please and thank yous, you always want to make sure that you're saying that regardless of the person's status. We don't have, how would you describe that culture of hierarchy here as well?
Well, I mean, like certain cultures are more class-based, right?
Sure.
We tend to see that in Europe, we tend to see that in Asia. It's very more of a class system. Here, this is America. It's like, it's not about class.
Right, so everyone loves a please and thank you. Also, with that, opening doors for anyone, regardless of their gender, their age. Women especially love it when guys open doors for them. I know that some women might say, oh, I can get the door myself, but actually we really love it.
It's one of those complicated things, especially even for American guys. It's not just Asian guys, like that question, like, is chivalry dead? Or, is opening a door a sign of like oppressing women? But I believe that definitely like being polite to everybody and opening doors is something that I do and I encourage everyone to do.
It's timeless, you're right. Like being polite to everyone, you can never go wrong when you're polite.
Exactly.
Another thing too, and this has come up, I've seen on social media, there have been a couple articles on Facebook about this idea of ghosting.
Mm-hmm.
And ghosting is when you're at a social event, whether it's a party or a networking event or an anniversary dinner or something like that, and there are a lot of people there, and you just kind of disappear. You just kind of slip out the back door and you don't say goodbye to anyone because you think, oh, everyone's so busy, I don't want to have to go and make the rounds and say goodbye to everybody. You just sort of disappear like a ghost, so they call that ghosting. That's actually not really respectful or polite, especially to the host. If you've been invited to a party and you know the host, you always want to say goodbye to them.
Yes, and the reason I think that I'll go to some of these events or I'll see like these Asian attendees, they'll ghost, is they'll do that because they think it's impolite to impose upon the host.
Okay.
They're like, oh, he's busy, she's busy,
Okay,
so I'm just gonna duck out. And so I'll see that, and I understand why they do it, but it is like you're kind of taken aback because if you're there, you should say hello and you should say goodbye.
Absolutely.
So that was the topic of ghosting, when people don't want to show their presence, but you actually want to show your presence, right?
Right, yeah, it's very important that at a social event, if you want to portray confidence and be the life of the party, that you have some sort of presence. And the best way to do that is to hold your own in a conversation. So what does that mean? That means when you're talking with someone, you're talking with a group, that you're asking questions about the other person, that you're contributing thoughtful, insightful comments. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't really know what to say, especially to a stranger. And my advice is ask questions about them, because everyone is their own expert. They know what they know in their life. And so if you ask them questions like, where'd you go to school? Or what do you do for work? Or where are you from? Or tell me about, growing up in Vietnam. What was that like? That keeps the conversation going, and that shows that you have a presence in that conversation.
I mean, after all, everybody's favorite topic is themselves.
Exactly. Not in a gloating or bragging type of way, but we know ourselves the best. And so when you're asking questions about another person, it gives them something to talk about, and then it gives you information that you can learn from them and then play off of that as well.
Gotcha. So let's say these Asian professionals are at some sort of restaurant or a bar. Maybe they're taking out their future coworker or something like that, and they're paying for like dinner or drinks. What should they do? And I know a lot of Asian cultures don't, but you definitely do it here in America.
Tipping.
Yes.
At a restaurant, it's always customary to tip between 15 and 20%. Now, some people would say between 18 and 20%. I mostly see in this day and age, especially in large cities, people tipping 20%. So it's very, very important that when you go to a restaurant where you're sitting down and you actually have a server coming up and serving you, that you are tipping at least 15%, more erring on the side of 20%. Now, if you're at a fast food restaurant where you're going up to the counter and you're ordering and you're taking the food back to your table, then it's not as necessary to tip. They might have a tip jar where you can throw in $1 or $2, but it's not necessary to tip the full 20%. That's only in situations where you're sitting down and you're being waited on by a server.
And, going back to politeness, be polite to your waiter, right? And for me, I do like $2 for every 10. That's like easy math for me.
Perfect, yeah.
So these have been some really great etiquette tips, Maggie. I mean,
Great,
I have
thank you.
learned so much. I know a lot of people learn from her, and I think you should too. So, Maggie, how can our audience reach you?
You can check me out at my website. It's executiveclass.org, and I'm all over social media. I'd love to connect with you there. My Twitter handle is @etiquetteexec, so like executive, @etiquetteexec. I'm on Twitter and Instagram under that handle, @etiquetteexec, and I'm also on Facebook. It's Executive Class Etiquette. So please send your questions my way. I'd love to answer them, get your thoughts, your comments, and would love to stay in touch.
All right, thanks for joining us, guys. Remember, be polite to everybody, be good to everybody. Thanks and goodbye.
Thanks, bye.